Beautiful.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Truly Inspired, the podcast. Today, I am joined by two awesome people. One, my guest co-host, Ledin. You're going to hear me call her Titi because I don't call her Ledin. She's my aunt. So I can't call her that. It's like calling my mom Miriam. I just don't do that. Say hi, Titi.
Hi.
And my amazing husband is over there out of earshot and eyesight. He is producing and directing our show today, which is super exciting. So that's Corey Trimble. Say hi, Corey.
Hello.
Hi, Corey.
And so he is actually going to be interacting with everybody that jumps on our live today, while I go ahead and start the watch parties for my group and Titi's group. Titi, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the world? Let them know what you do, where you're from, who you are, how we met. And
Oh my gosh, you already started with the tough questions. My name is Ledin. I'm 53, a stay-at-home mom with my baby that's 93.
Oh, there she is. Hey, Grandma.
Yeah, there she is. She didn't go to bed when she was supposed to, so she's in the background. Hopefully she'll stay that way and not get too upset. I live in Puerto Rico. I've been here for 6 years, and I'm an accountant on the side and an independent paparazzi consultant. As well, I'll share a little more about why I even did that, but that's me in a nutshell. Independent paparazzi consultant. Oh, I'm Vida Rivera. I met her the day she was born.
Okay, so how are you, my aunt?
You are my brother's daughter, my only brother, Aldi. Yeah.
You, my aunt. Hey. All
And my
right.
adopted sister, Miriam. Your mother met me when I was 4, so she used to comb my hair and get me off to school when I was in kindergarten.
Oh my goodness.
That's a long time, yeah.
That's a very long time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so glad that we finally get to do this and you have an internet connection that's stable and healthy.
Mm-hmm. Well, cross your fingers.
we struggled with this over the summer when we had tried to do this before. So, yay! Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So, you were in Puerto Rico during Hurricane Maria.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you tell our viewers, first off, how you ended up in Puerto Rico to begin with, and kind of what your life was like before the hurricane.
Okay. We lived in La Vernia, Texas. We had a house there, and I was managing a home health company, and we had this huge house. And my father passes away in December of 2013, and my daughter left home because she was big already. And here we were, 3 souls in this big house. I'm killing myself in the office trying to make ends meet. My mother's sitting in the living room with the television watching her because there was nobody else. And my husband would take a week to cut the grass because it was that much land. So my husband had a house here in Puerto Rico already. And he was like, you know what? Why don't we just go? There's nothing holding us here. So we took the leap. I was very tired. I was sick. Just a lot of things going on at the time. I knew the company I was working for was going to sell soon, and I was going to be out of work, and just a lot of little things put together. We ended up here. So we sold the house and we moved to Puerto Rico. And my very first hurricane season was odd because nothing really happened, but people that live here start getting ready in June. They literally start emptying out their freezer. They start stocking up on things like canned goods. I didn't know any of that. I had a freezer full of food and I was totally unprepared. The first hurricane season, which would have been in 2015. And the power goes out here all the time, which I learned why you should never have a full freezer. But I learned things the hard way because I didn't have someone say, you need to start doing this at this month. I learned all this the hard way. So by 2016, I was ready. I was ready come what may.
So you went through two hurricane seasons before Maria, because that was what, 17, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what made 2017 so different compared to
if you're gonna talk in terms of meteorologist terms, when El Nino is in the Atlantic or on this hemisphere, things are calm. When La Nina is here, all hell breaks loose, which is why we've had 2 years now of El Nino, and which is why things have remained calm and why the typhoons are going out of crazy, because wherever La Nina is, that's where hell's going to happen because of the warming waters. So in 2017, La Nina was here, and we knew they always do all these predictions. It's going to be a busy season. They predict this, they predict that, but they predict all the time, and we may get a lot of tropical depressions, but nothing like that year. That year was bad from July forward. It was something else. I mean, we got hit with tropical depressions like all the time. Remember, whatever storms hit Texas, they come through here first, but they may only come through here as a tropical depression and end up being a hurricane by the time they reach the Gulf or the coast, the east coast of Florida or whatever. But so they all come through here. We're like right in the middle of Hurricane Alley here, But that year was really busy. And by the time Maria came, we were so tired of getting ready for that. Oh, this one's going to be big. Oh, this one's going to be big. Oh, this one's going to be big. And here we were at the grocery store for Maria going like, this one's going to go right by too. This one's going to do nothing either. Because we were tired of getting ready and nothing happening, because you have to treat every storm as if it was a Maria type storm.
So what happened when you realized, when did you realize Maria was going, when did you realize she was a big bitch?
48 hours before. We had no time. Literally 48 hours.
And
it was on Saturday. This thing ripped through here on a Tuesday. Between Tuesday and Wednesday was just one long day. And on Saturday, I remember it was Mom's birthday, and there was a storm formed off the coast of Africa on Saturday. On Sunday, it had turned into a tropical storm. On Sunday, it was a Hurricane 1. By Monday, between Sunday night and Monday morning, it turned into a Hurricane 5. That fast.
Wow. So what did you do in that time when you found out?
We were still somewhat ready because Irma had just ripped through there. It had only been a week when Irma had ripped through here, but Irma went so far to the north that we just got the tail end of it. And you know that I'm further down in the country, so that on the island that it hit more like San Juan and that area up there than it did us down here. We got a lot of wind, but that was it. So we were still somewhat ready. Andy has to put shutters, like these metal shutters, all over the house because we have a wooden roof. We have to evacuate. We cannot stay up here. anything that's outside that can be a projectile. I'm talking a broom, a bucket, anything can turn into a deadly weapon and win. So everything has to be cleaned up and brought in, and that's basically what we did all day Sunday and all day Monday. We were cleaning up, throwing away, putting everything into the house, and getting the dog bathed, and because we had to go hunker down somewhere else.
So I remember getting a very unsettling text message from you the day of, like before all hell broke loose. And I remember I was at work in my new job in Denton, Texas, very far away from you. Do you remember the text message you sent me?
No, not exactly, but I think I was letting y'all know that if you don't hear from me in a couple of days, don't worry, I'll find a way to get in touch with you guys, because I think by that time is when we knew something was going to be bad and it was never going to be the same. We just didn't know what. And I didn't want you guys to worry. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you said no matter what happens, I love you, and that you know, everything will be taken care of in the event that I'm not here, but know that should everything be okay, I will find you. Don't worry. And I'll never forget. I was sitting in my office and my heart sank. It just, I had never gotten a message like that from you before, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and it was scary. It was scary, and we were all as prepared as we could be. I mean, no one knew what was going to happen. No one, we have never been hit with the Category 5 that strong, So we were all, this was a first for everyone that was alive,
So what, so we've talked about, kind of the leading up to Maria. What happened when she finally showed up?
There was, for us, Andy, me, Mom, there were 7 of us hunkered down at Gladys's house. My cousin lives next door, and you don't sleep. If you've ever, the noise is so loud. If you've ever been next to a train, imagine being right next to a train and it's zooming by, and it's so loud, and it was so loud that there was no way you could sleep. You could hear wood cracking, and every time I heard something break, I was like, oh, there goes my roof, and just all kinds of weird noises that you hear, and you can't open the window, because if you open the window and the air gets in, it can literally rip out the window. So we couldn't open the window. We just had to kind of just sit there.
And how did y'all deal with that?
We talked. We didn't lose electricity till about 1 a.m. So we were all like connected to a charger, because we didn't know when we'd be able to charge again. And I remember sending someone text. I don't remember who it was, asking me if I was okay. And I was like, I was in the thick of it at that moment, but I would just text back. But it was just you'll never forget that noise. You'll just never forget that noise. And then it was so loud for like 36 hours. I guess the best way to describe it is, if anyone has ever lived through a tornado, it's like a 36-hour tornado. It's the only way to describe what it was like. Imagine a tornado right on top of you for 36 hours, because that's what it was. It didn't lighten up. When it finally left, and we were still getting gusts that were a little uncontrollable, but it had gone. I mean, it was gone. And we were all tired of eating chips, and we wanted something hot. And I have a gas stove, but Gladys doesn't. Gladys and I came over to my house, but we had to hold on to each other arm to arm because the wind was still that bad that it would knock us off the stairs, or we literally had to hold each other walking up the stairs. When I opened the door, the house was flooded. And while she made the soup, I was taking water out, literally shoveling water out and shoveling water out because something happened to all the drains, and it's because all the leaves blocked all the drains, so the water just came inside. But, you know, even at that point, we still couldn't see the devastation because we had like one track mind: get to my house without falling over, and that was it. You know, we weren't looking around or nothing. We could see there were no leaves, and we could see everything looked ugly, but we just got up here, made this soup, and went back. We all tried to sleep that night because remember, nobody had slept since Monday. It's now Wednesday night when this is happening, and we're all trying to sleep. We were all exhausted. Mom was up the whole time. She was bonkers, and so that night we slept because there was nothing else we could do but sleep because no one had slept. Everyone was tired. So
what happened Thursday morning?
Thursday morning, when we turned on the generator and plugged in the TV so we could get some news, there were no channels. And we were like, oh no, the channels still aren't up. We still didn't know. We still don't know. We had no signal. No one had, you know, we were all charging our phones, but nobody could make a call. Nobody could get a text out. We couldn't understand what was going on, but we were all banding together to clear the streets because the electricity cables were all on the ground. We didn't know if they were live or not, but there wasn't nothing sparking, so it was all dead. There were limbs everywhere, so everyone just kind of banded together to start cleaning out the streets because we didn't know. We still didn't know. We were completely blocked off from the world. We still didn't know that. We didn't figure that out until I think Friday, when we still had no TV, we had no radio, we had absolutely nothing. That's when shit got real.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what did the island, like, what did it look like when you stepped outside?
Wow. You know, Puerto Rico is very green and luscious, and it looked as if an atomic bomb had went off and I missed it somewhere. It just, there was the whole topography changed. There were houses where I was like, where did those houses come from? They weren't there before. Well, they were there, but they were being covered by trees. There's a lake right here. I didn't even know there was a lake behind us. There's a lake there. There's a whole subdivision back there that I didn't know was back there. The whole topography changed. I don't know how to tell. The first time I went to the pueblo, I got lost because I didn't know where I was at. And it's not that I didn't know where I was at, but everything looked different because the trees were gone. There wasn't anything green. I used to say that, I used to call it La Isla del Palillo, Toothpick Island, because that's what it looked like, a bunch of little toothpicks all over the place, all these dead trees. And it was just so sad. All you want to do is cry when Andy and I got up at 4:00 in the morning on Sunday to try and call out, but I would have to drive like 15 miles to the next town because I was told they had cell service there. So Andy and I got up early because I needed to talk to you guys. I needed to let y'all know I was okay. And we drove, and if you would see him driving, you would be like, oh my gosh, it was like zigzag. All the transformers, everything was in the middle of the road, literally like this. You're driving, you're weaving in and out just to get to Caguas so I could try and make a call. I didn't realize that if it was 5 o'clock in the morning for me, it was 3 o'clock in the morning for y'all. So y'all are asleep. So I'm wondering, why isn't anyone answering when I'm trying to call? But that's because y'all were all asleep. But I was able to leave messages, and at least I know eventually y'all got them. And I got to talk to Josh because he was still working. So I was relieved that I was able to communicate. But yeah, for about 3 months, I had to drive to Caguas just to get a message out, a text out, or nothing. It's like I was dead.
That's insane. So
yeah, if you guys are going crazy now with this coronavirus, imagine you have no grocery store, no doctors, no post office, no internet, no TV, no radio, nothing.
So what did y'all do?
No electricity, no water. Our generator broke. It was insane. I wanted to just cry.
So now, honestly, like, were there times where you broke?
No, I was too busy. Our day went from getting up whenever you wanted to get up to the sun's up, you got to get up, because once the sun goes down, that's it. There's nothing left you can do with the pitch darkness, There were no batteries. There was no store you could go buy them at. So there was nothing. If you were lucky enough to have candles or something, then you had sunlight. But basically, we did a lot of chit-chatting in the dark. We played games in the dark. If I heard a generator somewhere in the neighborhood, I would go with my phone. My phone was left in places I didn't even know who they were. But I didn't care. As long as I had some way to play a game at one time or another, I was okay. I would leave my phone anywhere. Can you charge my phone? And they would. And this, until we got a generator, we ended up getting a generator at the end of October. So for about 6 weeks there, it was everything by hand. Washing clothes by hand is nothing to joke about. You should try it one day. Jeans and towels, you will think 3 times before putting that in the dirty clothes, because that's a lot of washing to do.
So how did you stay sane through all of that? Like,
there's no idle time. Let me tell you, you're working from sun up to sundown. By the time I got to bed, I was exhausted from, it would take you 3 hours just to wash your clothes and hang them up and hope it doesn't rain after all that work. And cooking was a nightmare because you can't use a microwave. There's no electricity. You had to cook everything. Heating food up was a nightmare. It's not like you can just put a plate of food in the microwave. You got to heat it all up, And there was no TV. There was no games. I journaled the whole experience every day. Today is Tuesday, October 20. My day started at such and such time, and I did this, and then I look back at it now, I'm like, I must have been crazy, but it got me through the day. Doing nothing.
Do you want to share some of your journal entries with our audience?
I didn't pull them out. I put them away the other day. I didn't pull them out because I figured it was just a lot of stupid things, like what I made for breakfast and who came over, and just a lot of dumb things. But, so-and-so pissed me off today. And, it's just stupid
things. So what kind of relief did you get from doing all the journaling, from writing down all the stupid things and who pissed you off and what was bothering you and everything?
It provided an outlet that I could release. A lot of time I didn't have anyone to talk to because I couldn't call anyone. No one could call me. I couldn't text. So it kind of provided me a way of, we're supposed to talk every day. And there were days that I wouldn't say anything because I didn't have anybody to say anything to. So it provided me a way of release. Everything was going to be okay. I remember ending every entry in my journal. If you ever see it, you'll see it. Every entry is ended with, well, that's another day in Paradise Lost. because that's what it was for me at the time. And that's exactly how I ended every day. Well, that was the end of today in Paradise Lost, you know. And
So, you mentioned when we were talking earlier, when we were setting up for this episode, is you wouldn't have been able to get through it without your community, without your tribe there in Puerto Rico. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
you know, a lot of it is culture. Because life here in Puerto Rico is very, very different than in the United States. Um, a complete stranger could knock on my door right now and say he's hungry, and he's going to get a plate of food. There's not that fear of, if he gets sick, will he sue me? Um, what if what if he comes back to rob me? Those fears just, they don't exist here. If somebody has them, I haven't run into anyone. And I was getting ready for Joshua's birthday. Joshua's birthday party was going to be September 30th, 2 weeks after Maria went through here. So my freezer was full of food that I had made in advance for that event. Well, a lot of people benefited from all that I had there because I had to cook it up or it was going to spoil. So it wasn't just us eating day and night. The whole block got something to eat when we cooked, and the same thing would happen when they would cook. If we all had freezers full of food that needed to be cooked, so if so and so cooked, food came up from so and so's house. If I cooked, I sent food out, and that's kind of how we did it. We didn't when the we used to have to stand in lines to get ice or gas or whatever, and sometimes these lines were 10 hours long just to get $10 worth of gas. And when my cousin Gladys would go out to look for gas or water or whatever, and she'd find it, she wouldn't just bring back water for her. She would bring back water for everybody. Everybody got water when she would come back. And that's how we all did it. It wasn't every man for himself. It was, what can I do to help you? 2 weeks into this, we were all running out of food and the stores weren't open. And I remember telling Andy, we're down to our last few cups of rice and we just have one can of beans. And he's like, well, then tomorrow we'll have rice and beans again. And I'm like, okay. And then somebody would show up with chicken or, things like that. And we never ran out of food, even though I thought we were going to. And nobody ran out of food. If somebody needed a can of something and I had it, I would give it, and that's kind of how we all banded together to survive because we were all in the same boat.
So it sounds like you gave freely without any expectation of anything in return, yet the universe, God, the world blessed you in return.
That's what we're doing now. I have stocked up on gloves and Chubbs for Mom, and who knew we were going to need them now? So people ask me, do you have alcohol? I sure do. Do you have gloves? I sure do. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get any more, but you're more than welcome to have this, And yeah, that's what we do when we're in trouble.
So
we help each other.
It's having faith that everything will come back eventually, that you're never going to be left without.
That's right. It always does. I can never outgive. It's just never happened like that for me.
That is amazing. Like, I love hearing that. So how long did this go on with Maria? Like, when did life kind of get back to normal, or did it?
March of 2018 is when things got back to normal, where I can sincerely say, I have it documented in my journal, the exact date. I think it was March 30th, when I actually had all my services at the same time together. Because one minute I may have this, but not that. I may have this, but not that. But I think it was March 30th. I remember we like to throw a Christmas party every year for the whole community. And that particular year, I remember talking to Andy and saying, well, what are we going to do? We have no electricity. How are we going to throw a party? We need a generator. We need electricity for the sound equipment. And he's like, you know what? Make up those invitations. And I remember the invitation said, with electricity, without electricity, we have a lot to be thankful for. We're going to celebrate. And we did. We had 3 generators going at the same time, but I'll be darned, we were the only place lit in the whole city because nobody else was lit at that hour. But we had a blast that Christmas, and we had a lot to be thankful for. And I remember the price of admission is always a toy because we like to give out toys. So this year, instead of buying presents, I asked that we all just, I don't remember what it is that I asked for, but there was no presents that year because we didn't need stuff. We just needed to be thankful for everything that we had survived. And I remember that the next day of that party, we got electricity back. It was the very next day. And, but we didn't have all the services together. So March 30th is when everything went back to normal.
Wow.
At least for us. For some people, it was much longer, but for us, it was March 30th.
And that was what, 6.5 months after Maria ripped through Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
Wow. So, what advice do you have for people right now going through this pandemic who are, unsure of when things are going to get back to normal, who are worried about running out of food and toilet paper? Like, what advice can you give them?
I never could understand the whole thing with the toilet paper. I don't get that. Because out of everything that you could worry about, that's the least one. I mean, really, think about it. You can even use a Kleenex, or heck, just jump in the shower. That's like the simplest solution. I would tell people there's not much you can do now to prepare because you're in the thick of it. But Maria has taught me to always be prepared because it may not be a hurricane, it may be something else. And so people that have come over accuse me of being a hoarder. And because I hoard things like milk, like powdered milk or carton milk that doesn't spoil, canned goods, I buy things in bulk. And I may be a hoarder to a certain extent, but I'm prepared. I mean, I don't ever want to be in a place like I was 2 weeks after Maria with no food and not knowing when I was going to get food again. And I don't ever want to be there again. So when I started to see things happening in China and Europe in January, I started getting ready for this because I've already got that mentality. Something's coming, I don't know what, but I'd rather be prepared than not prepared. So if you're not prepared, what I would do is I would make a list of stuff that you can prepare your meals for the next 3 weeks. Go and buy everything you need for those meals for the next 3 weeks and don't go out anymore. It's a pain, I know, and a lot of people can't do that. But if you do have to go out, you gotta be careful because this is like a bad case of STD that you don't even enjoy getting. It's just like, it's crazy.
It's very true.
It's true, right? It's true. You go and touch something somebody else touched, and that's it. That's all it took. You're like, man, it's crazy.
Yeah. So wash your hands. Stay away from people. Okay. social distancing is real. Stay
It's
safe.
temporary. Yeah, the faster people buckle down and do it, the faster this will go away. The more you continue with that attitude, that business as usual, the longer this is going to drag out, because it's going to get real next week, because next week is that 15th day. That's when people that think they have nothing are going to start to feel sick. And that's when things are going to get ugly. And you can't do anything about it then. You needed to do something about it now,
Mhm.
So but don't panic. If you can help your neighbor, do it, because you may have something that your neighbor needs, and your neighbor may have something you need. Together, you help each other. You can't, in times like these, you cannot think. There's so many people walking around here. We're under curfew now from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. And there's so many people around here going, oh, they're violating my rights, and they have no right to do that. And I'm like, is your life worth less? I mean, think about it. Is your life worth less? Because it isn't the old people dying with this shit. It's young people too, And hey, you tell me I can't go out, no problem. I haven't gone out anyway. I'm always inside because I can't go anywhere with mom. But you know,
I
it's
think she
just
fell asleep.
she did, because I had to give her medicine. Oh boy, picking her up from there is going to be interesting. Oh boy,
All right. Well, thank you.
mama. Yeah, she's out.
Yeah, she is out cold. So normally this is a time of our show where we do our 10-minute wacky question round. Did you get some random questions to ask your niece?
No, I don't have any questions.
Can you think of some on the fly?
Yeah, right.
So if it makes you feel any better, I usually just Google them.
Okay, Google away. What am I supposed to Google? I love Google. Do you know that was what I missed more than anything?
I believe it. I believe it.
Because how many times a day do you like, oh, what was the name of that song? Or who was in that movie? And that drove me nuts. I wouldn't sleep thinking about it. And I couldn't Google it because it was awful. I have chicken, but I don't know what to do with it. And I can't even Google a recipe. I missed Google more than anything.
I believe it, because I too have that affliction. Like Google and IMDb are like my two favorite apps in the whole wide world.
Yes. That's insane.
So I just Google questions to get to know people and pick a random site.
Okay.
So today's questions from me to you come from, and don't take offense, this is completely random, agingcare.com.
Hey, what?
agingcare.com.
Oh, I'm becoming an expert.
So let's see. So I'll go first. Corey, you want to set the timer for 10 minutes? Corey? Timer? Oh, he's not. I lost my producer. He's not listening.
Oh boy.
He's right there, but I've completely lost him. All right, hold on. Let me set 10 minutes on the clock. Starting now.
Okay.
All right. What was school like for you as a child?
Let me see if I can remember that long ago. When I was in elementary school or older?
Pick one. I don't care.
I hated school. I hated it.
Why?
Can you believe that? I hated it. In elementary school, there was this little black girl that used to torment me to no get up. She would steal my lunch money and hit me. So I hated going to that school. And then when I got to middle school, I had to deal with bullies a lot. I was bullied a lot. And I remember putting a can of soup in my backpack and getting even one day because I just couldn't take it anymore.
It's so funny. Like, it's clearly you and I are related because I've been dealing with bullies my whole life, the whole time.
Yes. And then when I got to high school, my first 2 years, I remember a teacher I had in 6th grade, Mrs. Weatherby. I'll never forget her. And she was one of the first teachers that taught me that there was more to life than that square mile. And it was eye-opening, it was enlightening, and it was then that I decided, I don't know how and I don't know when, but I'm getting out of that ghetto. I grew up in the ghetto, a very ugly part of New Jersey, and very, very poor, very unsafe. So I didn't like it. And then I spent my first 2 years of high school in New Jersey, and then I got ripped out and sent to Texas, which it was like a whole nother planet. Clemens was an entire different planet than Woodrow Wilson. Yeah. And I didn't fit in. I did not fit in. I felt like a fly in a glass of milk.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I grew up in that school district and never fit in. So
these people grew up with each other, and I did make some friends that I still have to this day. Michelle and Laura and Tammy. Those were the three friends that I made at Clemens that I still have today. And but I never fit in. I never did the whole dating scene. I never fit in. There was just nobody there worth me going, ooh, I'd like to go out with him.
Yeah. All right, your turn.
I gotta ask you a question. What was I supposed to Google? I have a short-term memory here. What made you start coaching?
What made you start coaching?
A good question. Yeah.
That's a good one. So I decided to become a coach because I was just fucking miserable with the jobs that I had for a while. I had been in the car business, 8 years at that point. And then I went to real estate investing, and that didn't go the way I wanted to. I was just tired of trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And so when I really got down to it and started really thinking about who I am as a human, I am a trainer, I am positive, I am a motivator. I have a passion for people with mental illness, seeing as I struggle with major depression, with suicidal thoughts. My husband, Corey's bipolar. And, there's lots of therapists around.
I live with a few bipolars myself.
So and there are lots of therapists, and therapists are great for like healing the past. But they don't help you like become something better than what you've been getting. And I wanted to help people do that.
I don't think they even help you heal the past. I don't know. They didn't help me. So
therapy is definitely one of those trial and error things. I spent, how much time I spent in therapy. I started seeing therapists when I was in 3rd grade, and it really wasn't until Dallas that I actually truly began to heal from everything. So it's really it is just a throw of the darts. Like, let's hope to God this one's a good one, and if not, you keep going. So
right.
All right, my turn. Let me ask you one. Here's a good one. Who is the person who influenced your life the most?
The first person that influenced my life the most was a lady named Amy. I thought her mother was my grandmother. I didn't know that we weren't even blood related. I thought she was my aunt for like the first 10 years of my life. But she would take me with her to school. She was in university. She would take me with her to work, and I would help her. And she was a single mom raising two daughters. And I never, at that moment in my life, before the age of 12, she would instill in me that I needed to always reach higher than I thought I could ever get, and that I cannot let anything or anyone get in my way. That dreams are achievable. That the sky's the limit. It doesn't matter if you're a woman. On and on. I can't tell you how much she influenced my life. And I got a chance to tell her at your father's funeral, because I got to see her again. And I said, I don't know if I'll ever get to see you again, but I need to let you know what an impact you had in my life, because it's not someone I see regularly.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
So.
All right, your turn.
Yeah, I'm coming. Who is your hero?
Ooh, who is my hero?
And why?
I'm probably gonna have to say Mr. Rogers.
Okay.
Because he had a very powerful mission, and that was to teach children how to deal with their feelings in a healthy way. And so many people lost that. Like
Yeah.
here we are in 2020, and there's so many people, especially around my age and younger, who don't seem to know how to do this. And I feel like that is my mission, to help people deal with their feelings in a positive way, and to use them to push them to do better, instead of, becoming bitter and sad, sacky, and miserable. I don't like that.
That's good.
Okay, let's see. How would you like to be remembered when you die?
I've thought about that question, believe it or not, because I've always thought of my life as a book, and I get to write the chapters. And if I write a chapter about you, that's pretty significant, because most people just kind of come and go. But if I actually dedicate a chapter to you, then you meant something to me. And I would love to be remembered as someone who was loving and kind, but at the same time have I don't know how to speak English or Spanish. I'm thinking of the word and it's not coming in either language. Perseverance. I would like to think that I'm not a quitter.
Resilient. Resilient.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Yes. That I would love to be remembered as resilient. That no matter what life threw at me, even if I kicked and screamed and hollered and whatever, but that I kept going. That I didn't buckle under any circumstances. I think that's what I would like to. I used to always tell my kids, don't pick a career that because of money. Pick a career that you love, because you're going to be doing an awful lot of it. And if it's cleaning houses, then you better be the best damn cleaner you are. That's you give it your all. You give it your all, or don't give it anything. Is what I used to tell them. So that's what I would like to be remembered.
I would venture to say that you are pretty damn resilient.
Well, good.
I have seen. I mean, I've known you going on 35 years now, and And I have seen you rise above some shit, like
Yeah.
Maria is just the most recent.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
Maria is just the most
Ooh.
recent, but you've
That whole ordeal, and I'm going to call it an ordeal because that's what it was. It scarred me. Don't get me wrong. It did scar me. Um, even to today, when the power goes out for whatever reason, or a storm rips through here, I have to tell myself it's not Maria. Ledin, calm down. It's not Maria. Because the sheer thought of losing everything again is frightening. But um, it's also made me stronger. And this pandemic is going to make a lot of people stronger. A lot of people are going to be stronger at the end of this because you have no choice. You learn from it. You're going to always be in like a constant, steady mode of readiness, and you're going to be better for it on the other side. I promise.
Yes, I agree 100. 100. Yes. All right, well, time's up. So now
Okay.
is the time we usually answer questions from our viewing audience.
Okay.
Corey, do we have any questions from anybody? Has anybody said hello? No? Okay. Corey says it's been kind of quiet on our live today. Oh no, let's see.
So much for people being stuck at home and having nothing to do.
Kind of quiet. So, well, Leah waved or Leah said she was excited to be here in one of the watch parties.
Okay.
Let's see who else. And then on your watch party in your group, Soleil Valley.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Sule. Yeah.
I can't read that. I don't know what that is. Margarita Morales.
Okay.
Oh, goodness, I'm so white. The white is coming out in me right now. And Dolores all waved. They all waved to say hello.
Okay.
So, but we do have quite a few viewers, so that's good. If anybody has any questions for me or Titi, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you're not watching live, we're at #replay, and let us know that you're here, what you thought, what your takeaways were, and why don't you tell our viewing audience where they can find you on social media and all that good stuff.
I have a group called Y el Glamour para Cuando, which translated in English is And Glamour When. I was trying to play it on that song, Beyonce's song, no, J-Lo's song, Y el Anillo para Cuando is how that name came about. And I joined Paparazzi because I missed people. I missed talking to people. Being here in the house day in, day out, week in, week out. You guys now have an idea of what it's like because of this pandemic, but this is my life since 2014, and I missed people. So I started doing that to kind of take the edge off of this solitude. So I have a group there. You can find me. I do have a business page, but I'm having trouble with it, so I haven't gotten that off the ground. So, I'm technically challenged.
So, what is paparazzi? Just so people know.
$5 jewelry. $5 jewelry.
Yeah.
It's not expensive, but you can look like $1 million.
Yeah. Today is the one day I'm not wearing any of it for my life. Normally,
I don't either. I don't have anything on either.
Well, pretty much all the jewelry I wear is paparazzi because I wear them and I lose them. So at $5, it doesn't hurt so bad.
It's okay. Right. Right.
So bad.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, what last piece of advice do you have for our viewing audience? Last thing you want to tell people?
The best advice I can give you guys is the more I saw it on Facebook, a bunch of matches all lined up. And if these 3 matches light and this one doesn't go out, it stops. It doesn't like this match. So if these 3 people decide they don't want to stay home and they want to just keep walking around, and this one smart person stays home, it breaks it up. And that's the best you can't do anything about it once you got it. So the best thing you could do is just stay home, stay put, and this will go away faster. It will go away faster as long as you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Diti, thank you for being here. I appreciate
You're
talking
welcome.
to you. It's been wonderful. It's fun. It's like really nice to have these conversations face to face. I think me and you may need to do this more often, even if it's not
No
live.
problem. I'm here all the time.
Like I absolutely love talking to you this way. And to everyone else, thank you for watching. Feel free to connect with me in my Facebook group, Truly Inspired Community for Mental Health and Personal Development, where I give free trainings and live videos, tidbits, and to help you get through the day. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell, so you get every time we post new videos. New podcast episode added every Friday at 9 a.m. is when premiere. Same thing with Facebook. They will get premiered on Facebook Watch Fridays at 9 a.m. And that's it, folks. Y'all have an amazing day. Be kind to one another. Love each other.
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass. And just remember, you're awesome. Love yourself. Bye.
Bye.